In this video, we're finally going to be able to fill in the entire unit circle. So before we've kind of been missing blanks, and that's where the radian parts would go, but now we're going to fill those in because now we know what a radian is. All right, so before attempting this lesson, make sure you just quickly go back and remember your unit circle in degrees. All right, you've had to do it multiple times now, so hopefully it comes back to you quickly. All right, so quickly review how to get it in degrees. I don't know why I said the other thing then. All right, so first we're going to start with our fully blank unit circle. And we are going to memorize quadrant 1. So we've had this memorized for a while, our 30 gaps, our 15 gaps, and our 30 gaps to get it 0, 35, 45, 60, 90. And then around the outside, we get the 1s in the right place. And these values we get by just kind of memorizing them, but also knowing that, like, if I go up from 1/2 on the x-axis, which would be about here, I get that point. So 1/2 for x. 1/2 on the y-axis about there, I get 1/2 for y, and I can kind of fill in the other spaces using patterns. After I have my kind of first quadrant filled out, I just use those 30, 15 gaps to kind of go around, making sure that it adds up to 360 at the end. So I'm going to use my first special angle, which basically tells me everything in near the x-axis all have the same values. I just put the negatives in the right place. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the 45-degree angles. Here, 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 and here. All right, this is a mistake. This one's not here yet. And then we do the last thing. Oh, no, one's there already. That's wrong. And then we do it with the 60-degree angles. All right, so everything kind of in the same location on the unit circle gets the same values. We just put negative x's here, negative y's here. Both are negative there. All right, so now we just need to fill in the radian measures of each angle. All right, we have our full unit circle. So just quickly look at that again. Our full unit circle, we have all the values on the outside we need. We have all the angles in degrees we need. Now we just need to kind of fill in these gaps here with what the angles are in radians. All right, so the first thing you could do is just convert all these. You could, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 angles. So you could take the time and convert 16 different angles to radians, and that's fine. It's just going to take you a while to do 16 different conversions. You'll figure out the pattern and be able to do it quicker. That's just a lot of process. So what kind of shortcuts can we use? All right, well, the first thing is we kind of have to know, just like everything else, we kind of have to know the first quadrant in radians. So if you converted 30 to radians, you get pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, and pi over 2. We've seen pi over 2 before. These ones, maybe you don't completely know yet, but if you did your conversions to radians, you would see them. All right, so you can see they're kind of decreasing in order, and we skip pi over 5. That's not there. So 6, 4, 3, 2. All right, so that's kind of ones to memorize. Again, you can do these conversions and get the rest using the shortcuts. All right, how are you going to get the ones in quadrant 2? This is where they end up being, but this is the way I think about it. We have pi here. We know pi is the half circle. And these quadrant 2 is a little less than pi. All right, so if we want to be a little less than 1 pi, what I'm going to do is take the bottom number of my fraction. So 1 pi would be 6 pi over 6. And how am I a little bit less than that? I just subtract 1 from the top. All right, 5 pi over 6 is going to be a little less than 6 pi over 6 because that number on the top is a little bit smaller. You can see that's the 5. 4, I subtract 1 and I get 3. 3, I subtract 1, I get 2. So this is the little trick I remember to get these ones. Once I have these memorized, I subtract 1 from the bottom for each of these and I get quadrant 2. Again, just like the values, you can see these values are over 3, these both are over 4, these both are over 6. So just like the values, they're all related. Quadrant 3, very similar, but quadrant 3, oops, make that a 3, is a little bigger than pi. So if I want to be a little less than pi, I subtracted 1 from the bottom. To be a little bigger than pi, I'm going to add 1. So 6 plus 1 is 7, 4 plus 1 is 5, 3 plus 1 is 4. And again, you can see these values are all over 3. These values, which are all related with the square root of 2 over 2, are all over 4. And these ones, which have the square root of 3 over 2 first are all over 6. Right, so I'm just following patterns, again, in this case, knowing that I add 1 to the bottom number. And the last one might be the least obvious, but here you're almost 2 pi. So I wrote 2 pi as 12 pi over 6. I'm going to subtract 1. I'm almost 2 pi, so I'm going to subtract 1 from the top to get 11 pi over 6. Right. So my shortcut for remembering this one is double subtract 1. All right, so double 6, 12, subtract 1, 11. Double 4, 8, subtract 1, 7. Double 3, 6, subtract 1, 5. Right. And again, one more time, look at them all. Right, all these values are over 6, and they have similar points. All of these values are over 4, and they have similar points, just with negatives in different places. And lastly, all these ones are over 3. So they have over 3 and just the negatives in the different places. Knowing this pattern of things near the x-axis are all the same, the things in the middle are all the same, the things near the y-axis are all the same, and you're just putting different numbers and negative signs for each one. I'll just quickly review. Right, how did we get it? So again, you have the whole degree part memorized, at least you should by now. Now we're going to remember pi over 6. Pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2. In quadrant 2, we're a little less than pi, so I'm going to subtract 1. So pi over 3 becomes 3 minus 1 is 2. Pi over 4, 4 minus 1 is 3. 6 minus 1 is 5. This is pi. Quadrant 3, we're a little bigger than pi, so now is when I add 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. 4 plus 1 is 5. 3 plus 1 is 4. And this is 3 pi over 2. And add 1. In the last quadrant, quadrant 4, this is where it's related to 2 pi, so I have to double and subtract 1. So times 2, subtract 1. All right, so 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 minus 1 is 11. And now we're all the way back around to 2 pi. And again, always just double check your final thing. Make sure all the over 3s, make this little box in the middle. Make sure all the over 4s, make this kind of square here. All right, all the points in the middle. And all the over 6s, make this thinner box near the x-axis. All right, so all those points are always related to each other with the same values along the outside and the same denominators for your radian angles. But now you know how to do the unit circle in degrees and radians. And just making sure that you kind of remember some shortcuts. You can convert them all. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. So remember those little shortcuts. It's going to help a lot.